Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up. This is the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life you absolutely love. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher. Amy will be joining us after the commercial break as we talk about the most visible organ of the human body. What is it? Well, stick around. We'll get to it soon. Remember, health is the first wealth. We'll get to that after the commercial break. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you have questions that you would like us to answer on or off the air, you can email them directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if you feel stuck in an area of your life, I don't care if it's financially or in your health or in your relationships, get in action and reach out to us. You don't need to suffer. There are answers and solutions and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. Now, let's get to today's email. It says, "Hello, Fletcher. My husband and I have an issue, and it's becoming more of an issue as time goes by. First of all, we are 38 and 40 years old. I'll give you a bit of information about our finances. We both make decent money. One of our cars is paid off and the other is halfway paid off. Our house is about 35% paid off. We have about $1,200 of consumer debt, and we just paid off our last college loan. We are saving for college for our kids, saving for our retirement, and I feel like we're on track. But my husband is afraid of running out of money. Not only is he afraid of not having enough money for retirement, he's afraid of not having enough money for kids' college and for paying our regular bills. The thing is, we always have more than enough to pay our bills, and I feel like we're a responsible family. We put away money regularly for college, and I'm all for that. But what is happening is that we never spend money on ourselves. We occasionally go out to eat, but we haven't taken vacation in almost 3 years. I want to go traveling. We have the money, but he doesn't see it. It's becoming a major source of tension and outright fighting in our house. I don't like it, and I don't know what to do. I definitely don't want this way of thinking about money modeled for our kids. His response is that if we spend now, we won't have money for when we really need it. What do you say to that? Please help. Thanks, Alice." All right, Alice, what a great topic, and thanks for reaching out. Reaching out is a sign of strength, and oftentimes it takes courage, so you're courageous, you're strong. Now, I hear you and your husband do not see eye to eye on your finances, and I'm sure you figured this out, but it sounds like your husband has some beliefs about finances that serve your family well in one sense, but not in another. Sometimes our beliefs serve us really well at a specific time in our life, and at another time in our life, it hinders us. It sounds like you folks are really responsible, you plan well for your finances, and that's actually not what most families do, so I acknowledge you for doing that. If your husband has a belief system that money is scarce or hard to come by, then he'll be inclined to be tight with it. If he has a belief system that there is an abundance of money around and that money flows to your family easily, then he'll behave differently. So the question, of course, is how to get him to change his belief about money. It's important to understand that a belief is simply a feeling of certainty. That's all a belief is. So in order to change someone's belief, you have to get them to feel more certain about that particular subject in a different manner. The more certain you feel, the stronger your belief. Now, in your husband's case, he feels certain that if you spend money now, there won't be money left for important needs in the future. So how do you get someone to feel certain, such as your husband's, in your husband's case, for example? Well, he'll have to change what he's focusing on. Remember, whatever you focus on, you feel. So if he is focusing on a time when there was a financial lack in his life, he's going to experience it emotionally and physically in his body in the present moment, even though it may have happened years ago. It'll feel like it's happening now. So what there is to do is to take a look at the checkbook and see that comfortable balance. Like right now, this is how much money we have. And you can see that the overall financial health is trending upward for our family. And it's important to look and see that it has been trending upwards for months, or for years. It's important to provide him with as much evidence as possible that right now, you guys are living in abundance. Last month, you had abundance. Last year, you had abundance. And you did that because you guys are responsible. And there's every indication that this trend is going to continue. Furthermore, you want to help him instill in him that money flows easily to your family. Look for every instance to demonstrate this. If you get a refund, if you get a discount, if you find money, if you get a complimentary upgrade, if you get dividends on an investment, look for anything to remind him that money flows easily to you and your family. Because the more you see this, the more it actually will happen. How's that for a concept? You begin to activate the power of coincidence. You start behaving differently and begin getting different results. Now, he's likely stuck in an old pattern that was a result of beliefs he was given as a child. We're oftentimes told money doesn't grow on trees. It's hard to make money. Life is always a struggle. Save for the rainy day. Life is expensive. Be frugal. Now look, there's nothing wrong with these beliefs. They actually will serve people well, but not forever. It's wise to be responsible with money and save and to plan ahead. But it can also serve you well to plan to use some of that money for a vacation or for your hobbies or for whatever. If you plan for it, you don't have to worry when you spend it for those intended purposes. My advice is to start small and let him see that it actually works. Help him gather evidence to strengthen his new belief that money is everywhere and flows easily to your family. Acknowledge him for being responsible financially and acknowledge him when he spends on himself and spends on the family. He needs to feel supported as he transitions from one belief to another, because it can be a very scary thing to do, to switch a belief system. All right? Alice, I hope that is of help to you. Now get into action. I believe in you. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We are here with Amy. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the skin.
The skin. All right.
Our skin, human skin.
We just talked about skin a couple of weeks ago with Cindy. We're going to even go deeper now.
No pun intended, or the pun was intended.
Ooh. Pun not intended, but great pun. Yes, now that I know what you're talking about. All right, so I did some of my own reading and came up with some cool facts. I want to share a couple of those.
Okay.
Because they're pretty fun. Did you know that the average adult has approximately 21 square feet of skin? And it's the heaviest organ in the body, accounting for about 15% of your body weight. Did you know that?
No, but it kind of gives me the willies.
Yeah. And the skin contains more than, get this, 11 miles of blood vessels. That's wild.
I know.
And a single square inch of skin has about 19 million cells and up to 300 sweat glands. 1 inch.
I know. I mean, it's an example of how our body is just like constantly working, and we just completely take it for granted. We just don't notice it. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be, but it's just always doing cool things.
Yeah, like our skin right now is doing something.
Doing something, yep.
That's so cool. All right, hey, I've heard the skin be called its own organ system. Is that true?
Yeah, it's considered an organ system because, but that's not just the skin, it's like the whole system. So it also consists of the hair, nails, and the exocrine glands. And an exocrine gland is the name for the types of glands that you find in the skin, and in the mouth. So salivary glands, sweat glands, milk glands. The skin is only a few millimeters thick, but it's the largest organ system in the body. And the reason it's considered an organ is really the definition is just a group of tissues with similar functions. So it's because the skin is this large collective tissue group that has its own functions. This
may be an obvious question to you, but it isn't to me, so I'm going to ask it at the risk of looking foolish. But inside of our mouth, is that skin?
Well, it's not really, I mean, it's called
mucosal
tissue, but it's made of very similar
skin cells or different?
Well, they're epithelial cells. They're a little different.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so we all know the skin is the outer visible layer that protects us, and I assume it does a lot more. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I thought what I would do is maybe go by the layers of the skin, because there's 3 layers of skin and they all have different purposes.
Okay, cool.
So the outermost layer is called the epidermis. It's the top layer. And so when it is intact, so like no cuts or anything on it, as we could imagine, it's relatively waterproof, so it protects us from moisture. It prevents most bacteria, viruses, and other foreign substances from entering our body. We all know if you get a little cut or scratch, or you have chronic issues with that, that's how bacteria can enter into the skin.
So it's a protection barrier.
It's a protection barrier. It helps regulate our body temperature. Just from the covering of it.
Mm-hmm.
It also plays a vital role in detecting hot and cold. Actually, that's in the deeper level. I don't know why that's on this one. And then scattered throughout the epidermis are the melanocytes, which are what produce melanin, and that gives us our skin tone. But really, that's not really why it's there. It's there to filter out ultraviolet radiation, which damages DNA and can result in skin cancer and sun damage. The epidermal layer also is the layer of skin that makes vitamin D. I mean, it's really cool.
This exterior
Yes.
skin makes vitamin D.
So in the presence of sunlight, within the epidermis, there's cholesterol. So vitamin D is actually a hormone, not a vitamin, but there's like the steroid chemical in our skin. And then UV light converts that form of vitamin D3 into another form. It then enters the bloodstream, and then the liver converts it to another form. And then it goes from the blood to the kidney, and then the kidney actually converts the vitamin D, which is actually a hormone, into its final active form called calcitriol. And vitamin D, like I think we've talked about it before, it's required for healthy bones. It's just one of the main things that it does. And the reason why so many of us need to take vitamin D is because we don't get enough sunlight. So really the amount of sunlight you would need to get adequate vitamin D would be about an hour without any sunscreen on at like between 12 and 2. With a complete exposure of your arms and legs. So most of us just don't get that.
So this is why, like, when you used to tell me that, I'd be like, why are you kidding? We have 300 days of sunshine here. Like,
Yeah.
how could I not be getting enough sunlight? But it's a specific time period and
You need like
level
pretty
of
direct
it.
sunlight and a lot of exposure of your skin.
Got it.
Yeah. So also the epidermis contains Langerhans cells, which are part of the skin's immune system. So it helps detect foreign substances and defend the body against infection. It also plays a role in allergies. So that's one of the responses, like first layer of response in the skin are these immune cells.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the main functions of the epidermis.
It's on the front line.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so now we're going to take a commercial, and you can do some facts when we come back.
All right, we'll be back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We're here with Amy and we're talking about skin, all 3 layers of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
it.
but before you go, I want to give a couple additional facts.
Some more, the cool facts that you like to read.
The cool facts. So this was really cool. We shed around 500 million skin cells each day. That's about 40,000 cells every minute. Unbelievable. And for the gross part, it's about 9 pounds of skin cells per year.
That's really gross.
But this allows the skin to renew itself every 28 days.
Yeah, so like every month you have like a new skin because these dead layers slough off and new ones are made.
That is wild.
I know, it's cool. All right, so the next layer down below the epidermis is called the dermis.
All right, the dermis.
The dermis. So the dermis is a thicker layer made of fibrous and elastic tissue that allows the skin to have, or gives the skin its flexibility and strength. And then it has a lot of things it does. So it contains the nerve endings, like I was mentioning before about temperature, pain, pressure, light touch, all of those. So there are some conditions where people actually can't feel pain, and it's dangerous. I mean, they hurt themselves all the time, and if they can't even feel burning. So if you think about that, I mean, that protects you so many times when you feel pain. And over time, obviously, the human body has become very evolved, where there are certain areas of your body where the nerve endings are very concentrated. There's so many of them in, like you talked about, every square inch. There are certain areas of your body, like your fingertips or your lips, that have, are massively concentrated with nerve endings, and other areas of your body, maybe like the back of your arm or even your back or your thigh, that maybe they have a lot less, they're lessly concentrated nerve endings.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Right. What was the name of that experiment with the
Well,
paper clip?
it's the, you create what's called the homunculus. And anyway, it's kind of a different topic. But yeah, it's a picture based on like how sensitive all the areas of your body are. And so I had the kids do it at school, and they tested different areas of their body and could make their own homunculus.
Cool.
Yeah. So the sweat glands are also in the dermis, and sweat is very important. You actually were talking about that the other day, the difference between animals,
Yeah.
other animals and us, is that we can sweat.
Right. One of the reasons we're the mighty hunters is because while a cheetah or an antelope can outrun us sprint-wise, we can endure greater distances because we have the ability to sweat, whereas they don't.
Yeah, so we sweat in response to heat and stress. Sweat is composed of water, salt, and other chemicals. And then as the sweat evaporates from our skin, that allows us to cool down. So that's part of how we stay cool. And then this is cool. Even when you don't notice you're sweating, like you have no sense of that you're sweating, you still are sweating a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the body makes, like 500, about a half a liter of sweat that is imperceptible all day. Like that you didn't even know you were sweating, and that's how much your body just has like a baseline. And then if you were to exercise in the heat or become hot, you can, and you're exercising vigorously, you can lose up to 1.5 liters an hour.
Wow.
Through your sweat. So and then again, when the sweat evaporates, that's how we cool down. So I know we've talked about hydration,
Yes.
and that's why it's really important. You could lose about 1 liter an hour if you're out there on a bike ride or something in the heat.
And 1 liter is a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then oil glands are also in the dermis. We call those sebaceous glands, and they actually make what's called sebum. It's kind of this oily substance onto the hair follicles that then the hair comes out. So sebum is a type of oil that keeps the skin soft and also acts as a barrier. A lot of people may have had what's called a sebaceous cyst, or they're familiar with that. There's a cyst that can grow, especially on the back, is common in people where just something has kind of gone wrong with that gland, and we actually have to remove those. Hair follicles also originate in the dermis, and hair is important. And so not only, we think of it mostly as our appearance, but hair has a number of physical roles, including helping regulate our body temperature. It helps provide protection. It also provides protection from injury, either because of the amount of hair you have, which most of us don't have, but also you sense things, you enhance sensation with the hair. And the other way that it controls temperature is like when you get goosebumps. So that hair follicle closes up, and it helps protect you from getting too cold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the blood vessels in the dermis provide nutrients to the skin and help regulate your body temperature by dilating or constricting. So when you get really hot, your blood vessels that are near the skin actually dilate, and it helps release some of that heat from the skin. So like if you're out in the heat and your hands get kind of hot and swollen and feel look kind of pink, that's because your body is actually trying to cool you down by letting those blood vessels dilate and letting some of the heat dissipate.
Oh, wow.
And then when you get cold, your hands can, like your ring might get loose, and your hands are less red or less pink colored.
Yeah.
That's because the blood vessels are constricting to try to conserve heat, and so they take the blood vessels like away from the surface of the skin.
That is so cool. That happens to me all the time when I'm swimming, like in the lake. This ring gets really loose.
Yeah.
Because everything's constricting.
Right. So your body's trying to get all that heat to keep into the core of your body, so your body temperature stays level.
Amazing.
I know, because the body likes to be level all the time. And so the last layer is the fat layer. So you have epidermis, dermis, and then fat. And so the fat layer helps insulate us from the cold. It also protects us by providing padding, which a lot of people take that for granted. Well, young people do, but when you see older people's arms, patients will frequently complain to me that they get bruised so easily. Some of those, obviously, if they're on aspirin or something, but a lot of it is if you were to look at their skin, like pinch their skin, they don't have any fat in their skin anymore. And so number one, they don't have covering like over their bones, so they get cut more easily, but they also get bruised more easily because they don't have that fat protection on there. And then the fat layer also serves as an energy storage area obviously, because your body sometimes uses fat for energy.
Got it.
Yeah, and what people maybe don't know is fat is actually in a fat cell. So you don't just have fat just like laying around in your body. It's actually a fat cell. And the fat cell can get bigger, and then it has this fibrous tissue that kind of holds it all together.
Got it. Wow.
I know, the skin does a lot of, it does so many things, and it's evolved through obviously through our time. The other thing I was reading about that was cool was thinking about that over time the skin has become more thicker in your palms and soles to protect us, and then other areas are more fragile where we don't need that protection, like around your eyes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, do we have
Yeah.
time for another cool fact?
A couple cool facts, yes.
All right. Cool fact number 1. Some sources estimate that more than half of the dust in your home is actually dead skin.
I think these are also gross facts.
Yeah.
They're cool but gross.
Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
We slough off a lot of skin.
And then just let's magnify that a bit. Dead skin comprises about 1 billion tons of dust in the Earth's
I
atmosphere.
don't even know how they calculate that, but
And then, let's see, I've got one more here.
last gross fact.
Your skin is home to more than 1,000 species of bacteria, and there's not even an accurate count as to how many actual bacteria live in and on our bodies.
Yeah, because I was trying to look up that answer too, and they first of all can't even really quantify how many cells we're made of. It's just a mind-boggling amount.
Yeah.
And then then there's some statistics that say that we have actually more bacteria on and in our body than we do of our own cells.
Yeah.
And so it's a staggering number of bacteria that are on our skin. And then if you add what's in our mouths and in our digestive tract, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But they do good things for us. You would get totally grossed out if you read about it, because there's also like little mites on our skin that help do things. And there's all kinds of cool ways that our skin and our body is interplaying with the environment and we don't even really realize it.
Right, we're like a host to many other forms
We are
of
a
life.
host, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that great image, we will leave you until next week. Now it's time to get out there. It's time to be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You have something to offer this world. You matter, and we believe in you.